about equations. Last time we did two-step equations as demonstrated here in the Bell work. So let's just quickly review what we did on those. So I'll grab a marker here. For example, on this first one, after we make our Great Wall of China, we add 7 to both sides. We end up with 3y equals 15. And we divide both sides now by 3. And our final answer is y equals 5. All right, pretty straightforward, right? Okay, this next one, make our Great Wall of China. And we've got a 14 way over on the left side of the x term, so we're going to subtract 14 for starters. Remember, we have to undo additions and subtractions first. So we bring down the 4x, we know this cancels, and 38 minus 14 equals 24. At that point, we know that, this is going to be easy from here on out because we just have to divide 24 by 4. So we end up with x equals 6 for our second review question from yesterday's assignment. All right, today we're going to add the skill of combining like terms in solving an equation as well. So which terms can you combine? Now, if you look at these, you got an x term, a constant term, and a y term. So these, you really can't combine any of those. So what are we talking about? What are variable terms? Terms that have variables in them are called variable terms. A term without a variable, such as 4, is called a constant. Okay, so those are the kind of terms that we're dealing with when we're solving equations or simplifying expressions. Like terms are terms that have the same variables, and if you start including exponents in them, they have to have the same power on the exponent as well. All constants, like we mentioned earlier, like this 4 up here, are also considered like terms. So here's a couple of examples. We got negative 5x and 3x, 6a plus 12 plus 4a, 12a minus 4 minus 3. So if we combine the like terms before we move on any further, negative 5x plus 3x would equal negative 2x. So you simply add the number in front of the x, which is called the coefficients, and so you get negative 2x. On the second example here, 6a and 4a are like terms, so they can actually be combined into 10a. And after I have 10a, then I just put down the plus 12 because it's a constant. So you can't combine it with this first variable term. So 10a plus 12 is our simplified thing there. This next one, you have two constant terms here. So you're going to just combine those together. So when you do that, you'll end up with 12a. And negative 4 minus 3 is just like a simple subtraction of integers. That would be just minus 7. So 12a minus 7. So that's how you simplify by collecting like terms. Well, what if we actually have an equation involved here too, as in this case? So we're going to combine our like terms, 8x minus 6x to get 2x. And 2x equals 4. That is just what we call a one-step equation, and so we have to undo the multiplication. So we divide both sides by 2, and we end up with x equals 2. So that would be your final answer on that particular problem. Okay, here's another one that's very similar to the first one we just did, only in this case we got a different variable. So we got 5p and 7p. If you combine 5 and 7, you end up with 12p. All of that equals negative 12. And then you divide both sides by 12 to get p by itself. And so our final answer is p equals negative 1. So that would be the solution to that problem after you've collected the like terms. What about this one? This one's a little stranger looking, but remember we mentioned a couple of times already that if you have a letter by itself, even with a minus sign in front, we know that there is a 1 right there. If there's nothing there, you assume there's a 1. All right, so now let's collect our like terms. Negative 1p minus 5 more p's would give you negative 6p, right? And all of that still equals 24. So then all we got to do is divide both sides by negative 6 to get our solution here. And we would end up with p equals negative 4. Okay, keep moving. Here's one where you actually have a couple of constants on the right side that you can combine. So that 3 and that 1, if we combine them together, that would equal 4. So we'd have 4 plus 7n equals 4. Now we use our process of solving a two-step equation. We subtract 4 from both sides. Then that would eliminate that, and 4 minus 4 is 0, so we have 0 equals 7n. So to solve that, we divide both sides by 7, and n ends up equaling 0 divided by 7 is 0. So in this case, n is 0. And that's the answer that works. Okay, let's keep chugging along here. Let's see how many more we got. We got 2 more examples. We can handle it. Okay, a and 6a we'll combine in this next example. A and 6a add up to 7a. And then we still have our minus 7 there. Equals negative 7. So if I add 7 to both sides, after I make my gray wall of China, if I add 7 to both sides, I end up with 7a equals 0. Now it turns out if you divide by 7, you end up with a equals 0. So there's that particular problem. For our last example, we've got kind of an interesting looking problem here. Got a great wall of China. We've got a 7 and a 1 on the right side that we can combine because they're the two constants. So we have 7 and 1, which combine to give us 8. We still have a minus 6b over there, and then all of that equals negative 16. Okay, so I subtract 8 from both sides. Negative 16 subtract 8 is negative 24. And all that equals negative 6b. And then to finish it off, we divide both sides by negative 6. And negative 24 divided by negative 6 is positive 4. And all of that equals v. And there's your solution. So remember, collect the like terms and then solve the problem, which in most cases is going to end up being a two-step equation. So that brings us to the end of our lesson. And so you have an Alex assignment entitled Same Side Variables. Remember to show your work on a piece of paper, put your score at the top when you're done, and submit that screenshot to us. Thank you very much.